Welcome back to Queen G's Recipes, and today I'm going to be showing you how I like to make my prosciutto and cheese scalloped potatoes. So let's go over the ingredients and what we'll be needing for this recipe. So first off, we're going to need to preheat our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And now for the ingredients. So what we'll be needing is, first of all, our spices. I have half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, and half a teaspoon of oregano. I also have here some pancetta that I have chopped up. We will be quickly sauteing it just for about 2-3 minutes to give it a heads up. So we want to give that a heads up as soon as we're done here. And here I have 1/2 cup of flour. I also have 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. You can use salted and reduce the salt in the recipe, totally up to you. And here I have 3 cups of milk and 1 cup of table cream, which is 18% fat. I also have here 2.5 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, 6 russet potatoes, which I have washed, peeled, and we are going to be slicing, and 2 cloves of garlic. I also have a glass dish, which is 9 by 13, which I have sprayed with some nonstick spray. You can also generously grease it with a little bit of oil or olive oil, whatever you have on hand. Okay guys, so now for our potatoes, you want to slice them very thinly. Now, not extreme thinness, but this is what we're going for here. You can use a mandolin, but I just cut it with my knife. So there you go, just something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on slicing my potatoes and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay guys, so now we are going to start off with our roux, kind of like a bechamel sauce. We are going to start off by melting our butter. Let me unwrap it here. All right, okay. And I also have my frying pan here on the side, which is also warming up to temperature so that we can saute our, well, I guess it is like bacon, but if you do want to use bacon instead of the prosciutto, you can do that. That's totally fine. Just make sure you do the same thing. Don't over crisp it, just gently saute it just for a couple minutes on medium-low temperature, and then just chop it up. Or you can chop it up and then saute it, which would probably be easier. So now that our butter is completely melted, we are going to add in our flour, and we're going to make sure that we are going to mix this until it becomes a doughy-like consistency, a very thick consistency, so that all of our flour is cooked through. You don't want any flour lingering around, or else you'll feel that flour taste in your final product, and you don't want that. So just keep stirring until it becomes very pasty, almost like an almond paste. Okay. Okay, so to me this looks pretty good. So now we are going to, I have my temperature at medium-low. Now I'm going to add in my milk and table cream. And continuously stir it until we have a thick, creamy sauce. Now, I am going to allow this to come to a gentle simmer, and then I'm going to add in my 2 garlic cloves and my spices. Sure to keep an eye on it and continuously stir so that nothing sticks to the bottom. So you have a perfect creamy mixture. So as our sauce is gently coming to a simmer, we are going to quickly saute our, our pancetta or bacon, whatever you're using. And we're gonna keep an eye on it just for a couple minutes, as I said, just to give it a little heads up before we make our scalloped potatoes dish. My temperature right now is medium-low, as well on the pancetta. So we will keep an eye on it, and we will give it a little stir or mix. And continuously keep an eye on your sauce so that it doesn't start sticking to the bottom of the pan. I'm doing both at the same time, but ideally you would first do the pancetta and then you would work on your sauce. So you can go step by step and not mess up, because easily it can happen. Okay, so just one more thing. Before I added my pancetta to the preheated frying pan, I did add 1 teaspoon of olive oil just to kind of make sure it doesn't stick. But you do know that bacon or pancetta has a lot of grease, which it does release once it has been sauteed. So that's why you don't want to add any more than that, just a little bit. So I'm starting to see some bubbles along the edges. So we're going to add in our garlic cloves, and we're going to add in our spices. And just give it another nice stir, mix everything together, and continuously keep an eye on it and continuously stirring until it starts to simmer a little more rapidly and it starts to thicken up. So now that our pancetta is nicely lightly golden brown, I'm going to remove it with a slotted spoon so we don't keep the drippings, any of them. We just want the pancetta. So I'll remove it, leave it in a bowl, set it aside until we need it. So now that our sauce has come to a gentle boil, it has now thickened beautifully, as you can see. So now I'm going to turn my stovetop off, and I'm going to add 1/2 cup of the cheddar cheese that I have shredded. So just about 1/2 cup from what we set aside. Okay, and I add it into my sauce. Okay. Just until that's nicely melted, which won't take long at all. And now we are ready to assemble our scalloped potatoes. Alright guys, so now to assemble our scalloped potatoes, we are first going to place some sliced potatoes on the bottom of our dish. Now from my sauce, I did not remove the garlic. I just left it in there because we don't mind having it in our scalloped potatoes. It's only 2 anyway, but if you want, you can dish it out. Okay, now we're going to take some of our sauce, or a good amount of our sauce I should say, and spread it over our potatoes. Now, if you find you don't like your scalloped potatoes with too much sauce, you can cut the recipe in half and just make half of the sauce. Totally up to you as well. And now we are going to take some of our pancetta and sprinkle it over our sauce. Now we'll reserve the rest for our other layer. Okay, again, we'll go in with our potatoes. Okay, again with our sauce. Okay. Right. And I'm going to put the remaining of my pancetta here before our final layer. So now our last layer. Now, depending on how thick you cut your potatoes, it may take longer in the oven, and as well it will depend on how many layers you can make. Okay, and now I'm gonna put the remaining of my sauce all over the top. And make sure you get some aluminum foil ready, because we will be covering this before placing it into the oven. So this takes at least an hour. Now for the first amount of cooking, which will be without the cheese, we are going to bake it for 45 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, covered at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we are going to poke one of the potatoes with a fork just to make sure that they are tender. And if they are, then we will spread our cheese and just place it in the oven uncovered. And if they aren't, leave it in for another 5 to 10 minutes until they are a bit more tenderized, and then do the cheese process. So right now I'm gonna clean my dish, I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil, and we're gonna place it into our preheated oven. Hey guys, so my scalloped potatoes were in the oven for exactly 45 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I did poke the middle with a fork, and the potatoes are pretty tender. So now I'm gonna scatter some of the cheddar cheese that we reserved on top. And we're gonna leave our oven on, like don't bother shutting it off, because we're gonna put it back in. And we're going to put this in for, I think, about 10-12 minutes should do it, depending on your oven. Everybody's oven is different, but I know with me it's about 12 minutes or so. So I'm not going to cover it. I'm going to place it into the oven just as it is, like this, and we are going to leave it at the same temperature, and I'll let you know what it looks like once it's done. Alright guys, so my scalloped potatoes were in the oven for an extra 12 minutes. Our cheese is completely melted and was very, very bubbly. If you do want your cheese a little more golden brown, just leave it in for another 3-4 minutes. But I like mine just the way it is, so we are going to let it cool off for about 7 to 10 minutes, and then we are going to try it. Okay guys, so it's been about 10 minutes, and now we're gonna plate our scalloped potatoes. It's still really hot, so it is obviously suggested to wait at least 15 minutes or so before you start serving it. But we are now going to try it. Well guys, I can't even tell you how creamy and delicious this tastes, and with the pancetta, it tastes amazing. It adds that little extra flavor that is really, really good, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and do not forget to hit that notification bell so you will be notified every time I post a video. So that's pretty much it guys. Take care. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.